Hola, buenos dias. It's really nice to see all of you. Can you hear me? Just give me a wave if you can hear me, one of you. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. First, good morning to all of you. It is really nice to be here. And I apologize, I'm going to be talking in English for the next 20, 25 minutes. And Paulo is convincing me to learn some Spanish this summer, so I might do that. Um, But this is my first virtual summit, and this is really interesting. So I'm going to suggest to my team in my university that we do something like this. This is really brilliant. Thank you. So today I just want to talk a little bit about customer experience. Um, very quick introduction about myself. I've been in academia for 10 years. But before that, I worked in the industry for 5 years with Unilever, with a bank in India, and then came to the US to do my PhD. And my research is all about understanding customers, how they make decisions, and how companies can use insights to really drive growth and profitability. Um, so, Paulo, are my slides up on the screen? Yeah, all right. Excellent. So the title of my presentation is really Growth Through Innovation. And the idea here is that customer experience is not a goal. It is only one stop to the goal. And at the same time, customer experience is not the beginning. Companies have to think about what they need to do to really drive customer experience through innovation. And those experiences should result in long-term value for the company or the brand. So next slide. So what is customer experience all about? Customer experience is nothing but the change in affect, and affect means emotion. And when a customer touches a brand at any touch point. Now, this is really hard to measure because you can't always capture whether my oxygen levels in the brain that make me happy are going up or down. But it is something surely that can be managed. I can manage your experience. And moreover, today with data, I can actually predict whether you will have a good experience or not. And so knowing that is really important for marketers. So I truly believe that we are moving from a world where we respond to feedback and moving to a world where we actually start anticipating what customers want and giving them, even before they ask us what they want, we give them a wonderful experience. So next slide. So I really think about customer experience again as something that occurs through all points in the customer journey. So when you think about the journey, it can be the acquisition stage. So all the things a company does to acquire a customer, and those experiences have to be good for a company, for a customer to become a customer. And also in the retention, why would I continue to stay a customer with you is because, again, I've enjoyed the experience. I've enjoyed your service. And hence, I'm willing to invest more in you. And also, only if I have a good experience, again, I'm willing to refer more customers to you. I'm willing to advocate for the brand. So customer experience is just not one metric. You really need to have different customer experiences, metrics at different points of the customer journey. So how do you do this? And so my co-authors at Northwestern University and I, we have been looking at this for some time. And after studying lots of companies, we really came up with a framework which we believe will help companies understand how to drive customer experience with innovation. So the 5 C's are context and content. So I'll talk about context and content first. And then the next 2 C's are calibration and conversion. And I'll talk about what that means. And finally, a really important C today is collaboration. And I'll talk and give you some examples of how some brands are collaborating with customers to drive beautiful experiences and then long-term growth for their brand. So next slide. So if you go to context, this is really important because I think a lot of brands are spending money on content marketing. They're constantly sending out messages and content on different platforms, but they don't often have a good understanding of the underlying context. What is a deep consumer insight at that point in the customer journey? So if I'm a new customer, the insight needed for me to become a customer is different from the insight where is needed when I want to build my relationship with the company. And that insight is going to be different when I want to refer new customers. So the customer insight also changes. So the underlying context changes through the customer journey. And hence, this is really important to understand. But a lot of companies are just pushing out content because it is very cheap to send another email to your customer. And so we've done a lot of projects for companies where we see a lot of emails. It's very cheap to send one more email, but actually it is not really that effective. If you understand the context and then be more deliberate in your content, then we see that that has a higher effectiveness in acquiring and retaining customers. So when you think about context, I really like the framework by Christensen, who just passed away a few years ago from Harvard Business School. And he talks about the jobs to be done. And he says all brands should think about how are they really helping the customer? And this could be B2C or B2B in terms of what is the functional need, and that is baseline. But above the functional need is the emotional need. What problem or pain point am I trying to solve? But in today's world, I think what is really becoming important is the social aspect. How do I build social equity? How do I get customers together? Or how do I help customers identify themselves with my brand? So while we are doing a lot of one-on-one marketing, it is also important to understand the brand purpose and build social equity, because that's what protects your brand in the long term. If you understand the context, then you can drive content. So what I'm trying to say is understand the context and then drive content. Just don't be doing content marketing. I also see service as an important part of content. So when you're training your staff or your service folks to talk to a customer, that is important content. That should be a part of the marketing function's job in terms of informing your service teams, how they should respond to customer needs and complaints. And so people and platforms are now an important part of content and service. So content is really a service, not just marketing. Next slide. So I want to move on then to the next two C's, which are calibration and conversion. So conversion refers to what are your metrics? I don't know if there's some chat going on there or some questions, but let me know if there are some questions. Conversion really refers to what are your metrics? What are your KPIs at different points of the journey? Too many brands are just calculating clicks or impressions or finally sales, but you should have different metrics for different parts of the customer journey. And you really got to think about what content is going to help you achieve different metrics. Calibration is really about your data management strategy. How are you capturing the response or feedback from all these different channels? Using that data to really optimize your marketing efforts, becoming more efficient, allocating and reallocating your marketing expenditure on different channels in real time. That is the future of marketing, where you are able to use data to make real-time decisions. Of course, the challenge here is the number of media and touch points are constantly expanding. So you need to have a data strategy that scales, helps you understand what additional data you may need in the years to come, and then plan your data strategy accordingly. Next slide. Finally, collaboration. At Northwestern, we have done a lot of research which shows that when customers collaborate with the brand, they actually become more loyal users of the brand, and they also help the brand acquire new customers. So brands should intentionally go out to really collaborate with customers. How can brands do this? At the first level, basic level, is really personalized service, training your service teams to really help the customer address their needs and complaints. The next step is really asking for feedback, and not just about your purchase behaviors, but non-purchase behaviors. Did you have a good experience even before you consume the brand? So Disney does this very well. So Disney is always trying to figure out when customers are coming to Orlando, how can they make the experience better even before I come to Orlando? So I've had a good experience even before I have consumed the brand. And after I've consumed the brand, how can I really help the customer cherish and savor those experiences? How can I have positive brand recall after I've consumed the brand? So again, once I've come back from Disney, Disney sends me emails about the photos that I might have taken there and the experiences I had at Disney to really help me recall and cherish those experiences. So that's an important part of customer experience. In short, customer experience before consumption and after consumption often has a higher effect on long-term growth and profitability than just at the point of sale. And finally, a lot of brands are now becoming platforms. So they're not selling a product, but they're really selling a service. So if you look at Nike, Nike is not selling shoes anymore. It has a run club where it is helping athletes talk to other athletes. Athletes are talking to the brand. So the brand is constantly monitoring all the conversations. And there is so much more information here for Nike now to develop new products and new services. So if you can make your brand a platform, that really helps, again, long-term growth and profitability. Next slide. So I just have a few questions for you. I just have a few slides left. So this is sort of a self-assessment for the companies here to assess, where you are in terms of advancing towards a truly futuristic marketing function. So if you go to the next slide, my first question to you is, sorry, am I missing my slides here? And okay. Yeah, next slide, Paulo. Yeah. I think you missed one. Go back one slide. There should be one more slide between self-assessment and artificial intelligence. Okay. Let us see. All right. We can go there. It's not a problem. So my, I have 4 versions of development of the marketing function. I think the earliest is, or the most rudimentary or elementary is, are you a purely sales-driven organization, right? So it's the function of your marketing team then to provide just content and brochures, collateral for your sales team, in which case then the marketing team has no contact with the customer at all. Or are you a traditional marketing team where you're doing a lot of qualitative research, focus groups, surveys to understand what customers want, and then trying to drive loyalty and maybe lifetime value? The third stage is really where you may be a digital marketing. So there's Google Analytics, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's all sorts of social platforms, and you are trying to figure out what platforms are effective in driving engagement. But the truly futuristic marketing function is one, what I call a dynamic marketing function, where you're using technologies to collaborate with your customers and your channels to get better insights about your product and drive innovation. So some metrics here could be, how many new products are you launching? Are you able to predict what customers are looking for? Are you able to capture the value of new customers that an existing customer has referred to you? Are you able to check whether your brand cash flows are in fact stable because customers are willing to protect the brand from any sort of risk like a pandemic? So if you are capturing these metrics, then truly you're moving to a more dynamic marketing function. So the next slide then is the role of artificial intelligence. And a lot of companies are spending millions of dollars on artificial intelligence. But I just want to caution you that artificial intelligence is not some secret sauce. It is a necessary condition all companies will invest in artificial intelligence, but just having artificial intelligence doesn't mean you're going to be a leader in the marketplace. You really need to understand what experiences customers are looking for, and so how those artificial intelligence technologies will drive customer experience and in turn drive long-term growth and profitability for your brand. So, are you using artificial intelligence to predict customer needs, to recommend the right product, to optimize the user experience, to have conversational platforms and provide personalized service? And then are you really mining insights from unstructured data, giving that insights back to your product team and launching new products and services that drive again growth for your company? If you're doing that, and truly, you're on your way. So let me then move on to the next slide. So I have a few questions for you. So if you look there, are you acquiring insights through focus group studies and surveys? Many companies are spending still a lot of money on qualitative research. Are you always doing A/B testing? In which case, then you really don't know why customers are buying the brand. You're comparing one content with another content, then content C with content D, and you're just constantly always, it's like trial by error. Who's acquiring your new customers? Is your marketing function in touch with customers, or is it only your sales team? And finally, are you constantly debating and having arguments in your organization about, should I spend money on mass media or should I spend money on digital media? In which case, then you still really haven't figured out what is the role of different media and platforms in influencing customers and the journey. So if you said yes to most of these questions, so Paul, if you just click, then I would say you are still a traditional marketing function and you have yet to achieve dynamic marketing capabilities. So let's go to the next slide. On the other hand, let me ask you these questions. Do your product marketing and service teams act on customer insights and feedback in real time? Do you use the data intentionally to improve your services? Do you have a clear conversion metrics for different touch points in the journey? And do you know how one touch point influences another touch point? Do you have the ability to readjust your marketing efforts in real time to optimize your return on investment? And then do you intentionally collaborate with customers and make them actually producers and co-creators as opposed to just customers? And if you said yes to all these questions, then I think you're on your way to exponential growth, because now you're driving innovation, better products and services, a better customer experience, which should drive long-term value for you, right? So I hope I was able to convey the message to you that customer experience by itself is not the goal. It is only a stop on the way to the goal. But the question is really about, again, can you drive customer experiences at different points in the journey through innovation, through better products, through better services? Because then that better customer experience will result in lifetime value, but also new customers for you, just lowering the cost of customer acquisition. So you should have clear metrics attributed to customer experience as you invest in new technologies. So thank you so much for listening to me. As I said, this was my first virtual conference, so I apologize if there were any technical glitches, but please connect with me, and I would love to talk with you more offline or maybe on other online platforms. And I look forward to really also learning from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijay. Since we have some minutes, can you wait? Just quick question.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. Um, One of the things that I've been asked is how can marketeers these days, and is related to one of your questions, uh, can adjust their marketing efforts to really be in real time?
Yeah. First, there needs to be a change in mindset within the organization, because traditionally, the way organizations buy media is for the whole year, right? So your brands may be talking to a media buying house, and then almost for the whole year, you've decided where you want to spend your money and which channels. But so first, the first thing is a change in the mindset to say we want to be much more responsive. We really care about some important moments that matter, but we also want budgets or the ability to respond quickly when there are opportunities or challenges in the market. So the first thing is change in the mindset. The second thing is really empowering your brands to spend when it really matters. So again, there's a lot of research that show that there are certain moments that matter in a person's life, right? And I go through different life stage moments, and that may be different from another person going through different life stage moments. But if always set my marketing budget, I won't be able to address each person's life stage moments systematically. So understanding those moments and then having a process to address the needs of each customer becomes really important. So it's really more a mindset than purely technology.
Great, great, Vijay. Thank you. And last one. So you talk about uh, artificial intelligence. So do you think that that definitely needs to be in the marketing tech stack in this future organization?
Yes, I think definitely. So there's already a marketing technology stack, and most companies are investing in marketing technologies to understand what's happening in the marketplace, or who are my customers, how loyal they have been, what is their lifetime value, or how many emails I'm sending them, or how many sales calls I've had with them. So it's very historic. It's like looking in the rear view mirror, and that is good. Now we have all that data about what's happened in the past. I think artificial intelligence is about now using that data to predict what is going to happen in the future, right? So either I can recommend new products to users because I know what they're looking for, or I can recommend new users to products so I can actually say, hey, this customer liked a certain product, and now this new customer looks like that customer. So can I really build machine learning techniques that help me forecast and predict who could be my new users or what new products I could sell? So it's much more like looking forward as opposed to historic data. So I think artificial intelligence is definitely going to be very important.
Great. What do you think about the you're in contact with global companies since you're in university. So which roles or new roles you're seeing in the marketing organizations?
Yeah, I think we're definitely seeing a lot on the data science side, and we're definitely seeing both traditional companies like retailers and even financial services, but also companies on the technology side really having more in-house analytical capabilities. Uh, you know, with Google and cookies, we're not really sure. A lot of companies are really focusing more on first-party data, their customers, and trying to build their in-house capabilities. So that's where we're seeing a lot of growth, and we're definitely seeing a lot more advanced machine learning technologies in demand right now. So expertise in really machine learning is becoming really important.
Perfect. Thank you. And last question, Vijay, before we move on. So, which is the main change you have seen with this new normality we call through the pandemic? No?
What are some of the main changes in the pandemic, Paulo?
Yeah, on the marketing strategies you saw in the pandemic that companies
I
adopted.
I think the pandemic has only accelerated investments in digital technologies in the US. I think for a long time, at least in the US, many brands were really slow to invest in digital technologies. And there were other countries, especially companies in maybe in China and Japan, that were already far ahead. But I think because of the pandemic now, there's so much more focus on mobile technologies, mobile applications, and really also within the organization, how do I digitize my legacy systems so that I can really share data across different teams? So we're seeing both investments in technologies within the organization and also consumer-facing technologies. So I think that's where in the last 12 months you've seen rapid change, and that has really improved service. That's why a lot of people believe that when after the pandemic, we may really not come back because now customers are used to a certain level of personalized service and convenience.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Vijay, for your
Thank you so
presentation.
much. Yeah, thank you so
Very
much, and thanks to all of you for coming here. Thank you.